I bid you welcome, fellow traveler, to a special episode of my Problem Corner for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. My name is Model 42 and today, I want to tell you how I create my own characters for play, or sometimes as high-level NPCs, that either aid or thwart the heroes. This will not be a how-to-do video, this is just my personal preference, and if you feel inspired by this then I am glad and happy. So, let's dive right in. The first thing that I have to know from my DM and play group is really simple. Is there something special I need to be or do in this adventure, and what role do you want me to play? If I can choose, fine, but I personally am more of the player who lets everybody else choose first, and then feel the role I need to be as good as possible by still choosing something I like to play, which is a fair compromise. In this example, the DM has barred some special ancestries and guns, but otherwise is letting us choose what we want, and I was designated as the tank of the group. Cool. The others are choosing their classes, a rogue for damage dealing, a cleric for healing and an investigator for support and meddling stuff. So the first thing I do is go to Google or Pinterest, which sometimes also leads me to DeviantArt or ArtStation, and type in what I am looking for. In this case I chose the words Pathfinder, character, female, and barbarian, which got me tons of pictures, and then I just looked around for something to spark my interest. As you can see, I already made my decision to play a barbarian and a female character, which I prefer, my own personal gender put aside. Personally, I think that female characters are more powerful in a fantasy setting, not because of some political and fake feminist agenda. If women are strong, intelligent, and charming, they can do anything they want and become anything they want. The only thing standing in their way is themselves. That is just my point of view, and though male characters are cool as well, this is just my style. While looking around I stumbled upon a Native American-looking female with a spear, which was interesting to me, but the artwork had a horrible resolution, but it gave me an idea. I switched the word barbarian with spear and found something that was perfect and struck my eye. After that is done, I put the dot aside and put 10 points in all 6 ability scores. Looking at the picture, I know I will be a human, but what race and what culture will I be? From the description, the Lost Omens character guide, the art is fitting for a Taldan, so when it comes to names, it will be a bit tricky, though most names seem to end with an I and an A. So the classic Sophia comes to mind immediately while looking at the art, and this name comes from ancient Greek and stands for wisdom. Coincidence aside, this is perfect since I love to play wise characters that do not rush into things, which would be a nice subversion for a barbarian, but more on that later. So, I have a name and face. Now I write down the 3 points listed under "you might" on page 54 in the core rulebook, which state that I strive for greatness by my own right or for a cause, that I seek to understand my purpose in the world, and that I cherish relationships with family and friends. That sounds fantastic. But then again, humans are my second favorite ancestry. I note my extra 8 hit points and my size of medium, also making myself 1 meter and 63 centimeters in height and 57 kilograms in weight. Since I know I will have higher physical stats, my speed will be 25 feet, or 5 spaces as I like to call it. Write down common as my language, with further ones following later on, and at last note my traits, humanoid, and human. I get 2 free ability boosts, and I give myself +2 in Constitution, and +2 in Wisdom. As my ancestry feat, I will choose Natural Ambition, giving me another class feat later on, but for now, we just remember that. I also choose the Heritage, Versatile, giving me a general feat as long as I fulfill the prerequisites, which will be the feat, Die Hard, increasing my dying range from 4 to 5, making me tougher, both in body and spirit, fitting for my role. The next choice will be my background, and looking at the artwork and my knowledge of the campaign, which in this case is not much, as well as my intention of playing, so I choose the guard background, since I served in the city guard, but recently quit for some reason. That will be filled out in the backstory at the very end, though I will make a note for that, so I do not forget. Guard gives a choice of strength and charisma, so I will choose +2 in strength, but also put +2 in charisma as my free boost, since a pretty face like that, who served in the guard, should have some charisma. I will be trained in intimidation, which is awesome, as well as legal law and warfare law. Also I gain the feat, quick coercion, which allows me to coerce a creature in 1 round, instead of 1 minute. Makes sense for a god, I like it. With that out of the way, I looked to my class of choice, which was, and still is, Barbarian. I increase my strength by +2, and before I do anything else, choose my 4 free ability boosts as well, which will be +2 in strength, +2 in dexterity, +2 in constitution, and +2 in wisdom, giving me a strength of 16, dexterity of 12, constitution of 14, intelligence of 10, wisdom of 14, and charisma of 12. This gives me the ability scores, in order, of +3, +1, +2, +0, +2, and +1, which I write down in all needed spaces on my character sheet. Because my intelligence is still +0, I do not gain any more languages and can continue with my class. Now I write down the 3 points listed under you might, which tell me that I have a deep-seated well of anger, frustration, or hatred, that I prefer a straightforward approach, though I will ignore the no patience clause in that one, and that I have a regimen of physical fitness that I heed. Because of my class, I have a total amount of hit points of 12 + 2 + 8 = 22, which is good, not great, but good. I fill out my proficiencies next, which is expert perception, expert fortitude, trained reflex, expert will, trained athletics, intimidation, warfare law, and legal law, and I decide to be also trained in 3 more, which are diplomacy, society and medicine, since they all fit my duties of a god, and as a decent and caring human being, which is my preferred playstyle. My defenses, which are trained in light armor, medium armor, and unarmored defense, as well as my attacks, which are trained in simple weapons, martial weapons, and unarmed attacks, as well as my barbarian class DC, are also noted and written down, though most will be filled out later, when I bought my equipment. I also note my ability, rage, and then I have to choose my instinct, which will tell me what my rage does, and I get inspired when reading Spirit Instinct, and this gives a hint that maybe my character is haunted by visions of the dead, that something evil is coming and needs to be stopped. I ask my DM if there are undead in his campaign plans, and she nods and tells me, not much, but there will be some. So I choose this and hope for the best. If not, I can still do negative and positive damage in my rage, which will be useful either way. Now I also gain a barbarian feat, but remember, because of my ancestry feat, I get a second one, and I choose Moment of Clarity, which lets me use an action during rage to use concentrate actions, which reflects my wise and calculated persona. And also I choose Sudden Charge, which is a 2-action attack, that lets me stride twice and then attack. Awesome stuff. As you can see, I have to make small choices here and there, which tell me some directions my backstory and plans will go later on, but more on that later. Now we go shopping with the 150 silver pieces we get, and I will spare you this process, but I will make sure to buy a breastplate, since my strength is 16, it will not give me penalties, and a glaive, which is a very decent 2-handed weapon, and also fits my artwork quite well, also giving me a whopping 1d8 + 3 damage with deadly d8, reach, and forceful, increasing my damage potential and safety by a lot. The other stuff will be adventuring gear and at least 1 set of explorer's clothing. It is now time for details, and my character will be female, bisexual, giving me more options, and making me more careful because of succubi and stuff. She will be 24 years of age and her hometown will possibly be something near where the story takes place. The rest of the story will be written very carefully from now on, trying to justify my choices I made, which were attributes, background, feats and my instinct. But what I still have to do is finishing my personality. I have 6 points listed from my human ancestry and my barbarian class, and I add 4 more, so that I have a total of 10, and those will be 1. That I am a calm and observing person. 2. That I still call everybody, who could be my superior in rank, sir or ma'am. 3. That I am very shy when it comes to my body. And 4. That I have a fear of pitch black darkness. I also, at this point, clarify my well of raging as a hatred for the undead, turning on the living, giving myself the belief in Pharasma as well, who I write down as my deity. Furthermore, I will also state that my fitness regimen will be either swimming for 2 hours straight each day, or jogging, depending on location, which will be usually done before breakfast. Also 1 hour of training with the glaive is usually also done somewhere on each day, and if skipped, will be added to the next day. My 3 highest ability scores are Strength, Constitution and Wisdom, so she will be a strong-willed and capable fighter at the core, putting other lives before her own, making her of good alignment, possible neutral good, because of Pharasma, but I even could see her as lawful good, since she was a member of the city guard. Before planning my story further, I looked through the barbarian class feats available, and noticed that there are some levels where nothing is added that fits my playstyle, so I decide to add the Sentinel dedication from the Advanced Player's Guide later on, though it will not happen right away. This will give more defense capabilities, making my role as tank more obvious, and with those things noted, I will write my story, which usually is about 1 to 2 pages long and detailed, with names, towns, events and personality, so my DM can understand where my character comes from, what she is looking for, and how she solves problems. But more importantly, I write the story for myself. When all is done, I print it out after checking if it all fits, and then read through it a few times before the next session, also trying to think of possible interactions while going to sleep, and playing out scenes with my character in my head, just to get a feel of how I will play her. In this case, I didn't have any spells to choose, but just to clarify what I would do in that case, either I only have a selected list of spells, or in the case of classes which have access to the whole spell list, I note 3 spells per level, that my character will cast as her main spells, and only if she has to, will she cast other things. This gives my character additional personality and thematic flair. With that said, that is how I do it in more detail than perhaps needed, but it should give you an idea of my thought process, and hopefully this was inspirational to you as well. Please let me know in the comments how you do it and what inspires your choices. Maybe tell me of a quirk many of your characters share. Like this video if it was helpful, and to support the channel, do not forget to subscribe for more content, and I will see you somewhere in Galarian, my friends. Stay safe.